So devastated to see what is happening in Los Angeles, in the Palisades, in Malibu, my old stomping grounds. Oh my gosh, this is so sad. Look at this.
For about 10 minutes since we've been here. And then if we can swing our camera around, I'm going to show you adjacent to that. The embers have now spread to this huge apartment building. The rooftop deck, it appeared to have caught fire first, and now it is burning down through this apartment or condominium building.
Given your criticism of Governor Gavin Newsom, are you willing to work with him, and do you believe that federal aid should be provided to California for as long as it takes?
Well, it's very sad because I've been trying to get Gavin Newsom to allow water to come. You'd have tremendous water up there. They send it out to the Pacific because they're trying to protect a tiny little fish, which is in other areas, by the way, called a smelt. And for the sake of a smelt, they have no water. They had no water in the fire hydrants today in Los Angeles. It was a terrible thing. And we're going to get that done. It's going to finally be done. I got it done from the federal side, and he didn't want to sign it, but it's not going to happen again like that. There's no reason. Can you imagine? You have farmers that don't have any water in California. They have plenty of water. They don't have a drought. They send it out to the Pacific, and it's crazy. So what's happening in California is a true tragedy. I know those areas very well. I have many friends living in those houses. That is a true tragedy. Nobody ever thought. I mean, virtually Beverly Hills and areas around Beverly Hills are being decimated. The biggest homes, some of the most valuable homes in the world are just destroyed. I don't even know. You know, you talk about a tax base. If those people leave, you're going to lose half your tax base of California. This is a true tragedy, and it's a mistake of the governor, and you could say the administration. They don't have any water. They didn't have water in the fire hydrants. They don't have water, and yet they have. The water comes from, you know where? Up north. And it comes down at levels. They give millions and millions of barrels of gallons of water that they have, and they send it out into the Pacific. For the Pacific, it's like a drop. It's nothing. But for California, we take care of the whole state. So what's happened is a tragedy, and the governor has not done a good job. With that being said, I got along well with him. When he was governor, we worked together very well, and we would work together. I guess it looks like we're going to be the one having to rebuild it. But what happened there, I don't think there's anything that I've ever seen quite like it. And the insurance companies are going to have a big problem because you're talking about big dollars.
This is devastating. Oh my gosh.
So again, this is Via de La Paz. We are just a few blocks away from Palisades Village.
Oh my gosh, so sad. Alex Jones is saying that these are deliberate, which is horrifying. But what he says really sounds like it could. I mean, it's so terrible to say. It's awful. Let's watch this. He says it best.
Formula in the 1970s. What is Cloward and Piven? Well, it's not the first time governments did this, but it put it into a cosmology and a political formula in the 1970s by two communist professors, Cloward and Piven, the Cloward and Piven strategy, and they said, we will overtake the social safety network and get people addicted to it and crank it up so high to make people dependent, and within a generation we'll collapse America and blame capitalism, and on its ashes bring in total communism. And what did Ezekiel Emanuel say on Fox News 10 years ago? And others, he said, oh, Obamacare was always meant to triple prices and collapse the old system and bring in a government system. But it'll still be run by big corporations that make the profit. They just socialize the profit for themselves and privatize the debt to you. So when you see the fires all over the Western world, Lahaina years ago in Maui, and you look at what really happened there, and you look at what's happening in Los Angeles right now, at every level, at every step of the way, this is not mismanagement. This is perfect administrative, economic, industrial sabotage. This is murder. This is destruction. This is scorched earth. This is siege by design. So this is a designed economic warfare system that they've been developing really since the 50s in the globalist publications and battle plans that we've made films about, written books about, covered ad nauseum here. And they call it the rewilding, the deindustrialization plan, 1992, Rio de Janeiro, the Earth Summit. They passed the Club of Rome Limits to Growth plan, and they list all the things they're going to do. Get rid of farming, most farming, get rid of fertilizer, get rid of the nuclear family, get rid of single-family homes, depopulate the planet.
Apocalyptic stuff, no matter what. And my prayers seriously go for these people, because I know a lot of people. I have students, colleagues, friends that still live, loved ones that I've known over the years that are in LA and in Malibu. And I just pray that people can get safe and evacuate. I pray for it to be possible that they're going to try to reset everything out of this in a negative way, in a very controlling way. And that's sad. Regardless if it was on purpose, part of a plan like he's saying or not, this is devastating.
Last year and the year before in Canada, caught leftist, barely makes the news. They are sabotaging your children. They're sabotaging the culture. Cloward and Piven is just one of their public strategies that describe this to collapse society.
I wish that didn't sound true, but as a mom, I have noticed the worst stuff coming out in trying to brainwash my daughter. And it's through little things, little shows that you wouldn't think. It's not perfectly on the nose. It's ASMR, and it's creepy. It's creepy. Close-ups of somebody's mouth and just ASMR, and oh, slime, satisfying. You have this whole generation of children walking around like robots going, oh, satisfying, and making squishy noises and things. It's really not appropriate. And every time, if my daughter would watch it, at first I didn't realize, it looks like, oh, it's fine. It's like a craft show or whatever. And then suddenly she would be crazy. I love my daughter, and all kids and all adults, all people, we can all get a little cuckoo at times. But I can see how it becomes like a drug. They're brainwashing. But see, that sounds cuckoo by saying it, by caring, but it's happening. They're doing it where it's more over the top and you can totally see it. And then they do it through those weird shows.
And they called for an end to industrial civilization. In 1992, Rio de Janeiro Earth Summit passes resolution and treaty to end industrial civilization, post-industrial world. Just type those terms in. You'll be on the UN website. It's like you type in replacement migration, UN, and you'll be on the UN website. You don't have to believe me. Please, go look it up. They cut the firefighters, no water to fight the fires, and it's in the key zone where they're going to have the Olympics coming up and build a, quote, smart city, just like Lahaina. And it's the same story over and over and over again. And in Northern California, on the Oregon border, you got some of the best cropland in the world and mountain reservoirs built in the 50s, 60s, 70s. And the government, starting in the 90s, no matter who's in office in California, said, you can't have any of that water. And they got all these different excuses. And then California passes a proposition for $7.5 billion years and years and years ago, and nothing gets built. How much have they spent and not built 1 foot of usable subway in LA?
See, this is why it doesn't sound so far out there. It's not a conspiracy, because we know California doesn't handle when things are going well. Look at what they've done to a beautiful state just through policy, let alone a national disaster such as this. Obviously, we know that they're not going to handle it well. Obviously, we know that they're going to use it for more control. This is so sad. Seriously, prayers to everybody in California. And I hope Alex Jones is incorrect. I hope that they can bring some policy that makes people feel peace and positivity, and not just that, but be able to build. And thank God Trump is president in just a couple weeks.
President Trump has been talking about the water shortage in California for a very long time. But of course, Gavin Newsom wants to gaslight all of us so that we don't remember that this problem could have been remedied very quickly had California had enough water to take care of it. But instead, Gavin Newsom is going to blame Donald Trump for pointing out the obvious. And he's going to wish he had his Papa Bear, Biden. This is such a disgrace. Watch Gavin Newsom in his terrible acting role, where he takes zero responsibility as per his usual. This is devastating.
I hate to even
Please
ask this
let me
question,
know
but
what you
President-elect
think in the
chose to
comments.
attack you, blame you for this.
One can't even respond to it. I mean, it's people are literally fleeing. People have lost their lives. Kids lost their schools. Families completely torn asunder. Churches burned down. This guy wanted to politicize it. I have a lot of thoughts, and I know what I want to say. I won't. I stood next to the President of the United States of America today, and I was proud to be with Joe Biden.